Everybody get up, it's time to slam now.
Come on and slam, and welcome to the jam. Come on and slam, if you wanna jam.
Who am I? I am Ericka, not Badu, not Campbell, not Alexander, just me. To quote Ari, I am not my hair. On second thought, maybe I am. Sometimes hiding myself, my hurts, my faults, my insecurities with camouflage, covering, attempting to appear that I am all put together and tamed in order to protect what lies beneath. Because what's underneath can be wild if not controlled with regularity. And this is done for a specific period of time until I decide that I am ready to release and breathe. And that's when I disrobe the disguise and become naked, shedding the armor, lowering my guard that's no longer needed, at least for now, exposing the real me and showing new growth, revealing evidence of the roots from my upbringing, my inner strength, from conditioning myself to my circumstances, the grace of all the storms I've persevered through, and the colorful ways that I've tried to cover up my past hurts, finding and spreading joy to spite my reality, because in essence, I can control my reactions with straightening my responses when I can't control what comes against me, embracing a renewal of self by cleansing away all that have tried to destroy my joy, my character, aligning and anointing a more righteous path, preparing to rid myself of unhealthy entanglements as well as loose, brittle ends that could break me, leaving me damaged if I hold on too long. Ultimately, ultimately, rewarding me with curvy spirals of peace and healthy restoration. No more pretense of relaxation and past, but with focus and positive purpose lined up evenly until I need my protective armor again. The necessity of self exploration. This route has been traveled a minute, but not as often as one suspects. The course, never really boring. On the contrary, many climates were encountered. In past, men all paused at the beauty beyond the earthy tone's glow. Yet now menopause dictates climate control, from global warming to cool like snow. Since self-exploration is necessary to know one's depth in order to show, in order to enlighten the one who is the chosen to settle here. As time passes, we find we have yet to scratch the surface of what motivates the spirit beyond the dust. The terrain tends to shape shift as time shifts, showing many bumps in the road, even encountering craters here and there, uneven trails with shrubs and thickets thriving in places out of their natural habitat. Stubborn expanses of what appears to be uninhabitable wasteland, marks stretched beyond one's boundaries, but marks the spot like X to remember battles that were victorious. Yet in its center is a cavernous hot spring to give warmth and comfort, to give relief to the considerate, healing to what aches when the environment is favorable, when it's giving, when it's pleasing to the eye. But when the weather is harsh and unbearable, unforgiving, showing no flexibility, the spring becomes as a well gone, dry, no longer giving comfort, no longer giving warmth, no longer giving grace, no longer giving access. It may allow you to travel past unscathed, but it will no longer forget your harshness. It will remember, it will learn from it and be better prepared for whatever season comes after. If I couldn't be a poet, I'm not sure what I'd be, since life has been lifing seriously with expectancy. Tumultuous occurrences are a given. You'll see. Just continue to keep on living. You will find with breath, there's no such thing as coasting, even though there are periods when you feel you're just existing. Those are the times that depression seeps in. So you fight for what strength you can cling to find a solution. So poetry has truly been my blessing, my therapy. It has given me an outlet to release my fears, my moods, my fantasies, my tears. Tragic outcomes throughout these last few years. It has stretched me past the limitations that I have set for myself. In essence, poetry has been the hill from which cometh my help. Through my trials, I feel God wants to see me win. Poetry's a gift in my present state, for now as well as then. Who would have thought I would have found catharsis in my pen?
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my true religion. The essentials of faith require God in your heart, not just printed on clothes. The spirit dwells inside one's inner being, but now it can be accessed through the wallet, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, Zelle. If there's such a thing as a physical hell, I imagine many who go will want a refund. It's easier to sew a quilt with a needle that can fit a camel through its eye than it is to buy entry into heaven. Beware of false prophets dressed in true religion. They will tell you that Bible means basic instructions before leaving earth. And then they'll instruct you to sow a seed the size of a Dominican avocado when all you have is mustard seed size belief buried under a mountain of bills so big you have to address them formally. Pick up the water bill and say, William, I don't know how to pay you immediately. My help from the hills is overdue. I'm afraid to go to the bathroom because I don't want to miss my overflow. I'll wear an adult diaper if my blessing depends on not getting caught with my pants down. I'm locked in on the key to being a person of faith, overwhelmed by doubt. Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I believe with God, nothing shall be impossible. Nothing shall be impossible. I believe when a government uses compliance tools, it will only increase the certainty of rebellion. The revolution is live on social media and in a planet called Brooklyn. Inside the Milk and Honey Cafe, I told a young man who called himself an aspiring artist to switch the words around. Call yourself artist aspiring because words matter. I am contemplating why a God known to be so merciful wouldn't let Moses into the promised land. I want to know why Dr. King got to see the dream without knowing it would be deferred. Contradictions try to tempt me into disbelief, but I'm as stubborn as a donkey in Shrek. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. I believe with God. Nothing shall be impossible, not even a mission. Not even a difference in ideology can make me be insensitive or cruel. When the bombs start dropping, my biggest funk master flex will be I invited my atheist family into my foxhole because I get it. If living in this world doesn't make you lose REM sleep, you need to mainline some Narcan because I'm struggling just as much as anyone else. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my true religion.
I told the universe I have a shopping list and that she best have material whisperers ready at her fingertips when she check her inventory to fulfill my requisition. Now I have a good job, so I don't need a man to open up his wallet on my command. But what I do require is quality. And I'm not trying to have her pick him out from Dollar Tree. No cheaply made from sweatshop labor that break when I open up his package or play with him, have to send him back for warranty damage. No, I require durability and a reasonable amount of flexibility in his personality and his joints. I have a shopping list. And I'm a picky bitch, so you know it will be hard for her to find someone who fits that bill who will put up with my shit. But there are a few things to be honest and serious, and I'm not being delirious when I tell you this is what I want. So here I go. I'll spit it out in no particular order. Please pay me your attention, drop your tips at the door, sit back and let me show you how I roll. Do you fall asleep with my name on your lips? Release it in a sigh as you slip your fingers over my form. Come awake in the night as you grip my hips. Remind your mouth of my syllables when I got you doing flips. Yeah, chemistry's high on my list. Do you smile and your eyes go soft when you see a litter of puppies or the first snowfall? Because snow makes you think of me for no other reason than you love me. Do you hold the door for old ladies and give compliments to them, make them blush and give a giggle, a little flirt so they remember how it feels to be admired, so they know they still have that fire? Do you send me a text when I cross your mind to tell me I crossed it and to remind me that I am thine? I need you to be Cuisinarily adventurous because I cook everything from the dictionary and the thesaurus, and my pet peeve is picky eaters. So when the question of a restaurant arises and you ask me what do I want, don't make me filter my options because you don't like curry, gorgonzola, or kumquats. When it's time to get soapy, you need to plan that it's dual, not as the exception but as the rule, because I love having my man wash my back and anything else that needs washing or deserves his attention. I need his hands on me, and that's a fact. When we're out, I need him seeing what's all around, because I'm always lost in thought. I got my head in the clouds, and even though I roll strapped and can drill around through your eyeball, I need a man who thinks like a predator, So the other predators see what's up and don't try to test it, because I don't want to have to crown my castle doctrine and make them fall. I want a protector who respects my Electra but is always ready to protect me. He better respect my mother and my quirky friends of all labels, creeds, and colors. Love my horses, love my dad, love my collection of old shopping bags. Well, really, he needs to embrace my mess. I can't ask him to love it. That would be duress. But hey, as long as he's okay with my ADHD all over the place, knitting, poetry, arts and crafts, insanity, start 10 things and finish 3, if he can love me because I'm crazy. Unequivocally, we claim each other. Roll hard through dark and through light. Make each other better. We feed our creative spirits. He loves it when I poet. Always want to hear it when I spit. The bottom line, what it comes down to, the point I've been building up and finally got around to, is that I want a man that my name is his breath and my heart is his blood. And we love each other hard and strong as a biblical flood. I am his and he is mine. We got each other's backs. We are ride or die on the porch and everywhere under the sun. We are divine in this life and across time. We are fated and destined. Thank you, universe. Please hand me a pen so I can sign for my man, cause the person in the Amazon van is in a hurry. And to everyone who heard my pen, who is wishing for your own special bae or boyfriend, please remember this. You can't manifest it if you don't request it. So talk to the universe and get yours.
These hyena ain't wolf, though they're seen as the pack, the herd that raises those porcupine hairs. It's their natural way to be for the sheep, the distraction as well as the warning. Their hawking eyes and cadaverous teeth state, if you come out of the protection of your herders, we will eat you. If you wander too far from their view, you will be food. These deterrents work wonders for their future attacks. They appear to be a well-unified group of predator, but they're all out just to get food for themselves. In the end, it's the scatter that separates the surviving livestock from the prey. Watch as their alliance dissipate like clouds do, their unity turn into a territorial smorgasbord, the growls from the stomach that reach their throats just to claim a meal. Same packs that cower in the presence of nature's king, the roar that's been known to drop food from their jaws. They feel his presence like ruffling bushes. Watch as the simultaneous head rising, face poked out the mane, ears open to whisper. Naively they find themselves in range of the hunt. And ain't that just like the hyena to find a giggle? But when it comes to survival, losing is not a laughing matter. They say slam can be just like Animal Kingdom, and the stage can resemble a standing jungle. When they call where you are free, said to be the wild, the brave get mauled like a pride is watching. So ignore those innate fixed behavioral patterns. You can very well be those dead bones in the valley, exposed to the marrow, buried under the pile. When they chase the poor prince back, they'll find the beast in beast mode, don't care who food he eat. This rock belong to lion. You can die on this stage, like poet caucuses left from earlier rounds. Consider this venue their burial grounds. I'm just stretching out my jaw right now. The rest can turn, tuck tail, nod like they don't hear what I'm saying, but it don't matter. They know the roar.
Is this the end of days? Or is this unnerving quiet the eye of the storm? That one moment of weightlessness hanging in the air before gravity reclaims what's hers. I've fallen before, burned as I streaked across a red sky. I know what it is to make a crater, to crawl out broken but breathing still. I know what it is to yearn, to want to live again and walk upright, to seize my second chance. Maybe there's some grief. Maybe I will never be who I once was. Maybe I think the change unfairly violent. My head still rings from the impact. a resonance that feels like it will last a lifetime. I've had to carve out caskets for the parts of me that didn't survive the crash. And it's so hard to show you where it hurts, what all the damage is in my head, not imagined, but starkly real. Thoughts caught in a tangled net of neurons. I've let them hurt me to make me better. When do we first start letting healers make incisions and attach electrodes? I let the bastards turn me off. But am I not better now? Has there not been healing? Perhaps the cataclysm was necessary to begin the metamorphosis, however painful. And hell, I probably needed the humbling. Don't we all need some time in the mud we've made? A reminder this crown comes with a cost and can be taken away. Forgive me if I shake my fists at the sky. We have an understanding. There's not a scar I have he hasn't seen. I find myself at the edge of one life watching another slowly recede. A world that continues without me. Everyone is moving on. I've said my goodbyes, waved to those who were watching, smiled and cried and remembered. Tired of grief. Take these shrouds away. I stand ready to resume the climb. Feel the quickened heartbeats as we reach skyward towards home, wherever that may prove to be.
A supernova is a large collapse at the end of a star's lifetime, an escape from the pressure of living on this side of the Big Bang. Sometimes it feels easier to implode than it is to keep going, I know, because I've witnessed contemplation right here on this soil. Souls tired of the constant toil told that I'm much too young to feel this way. But when I scroll past another half-joke, half-ideation posted by a classmate, I remember starless nights wishing those thoughts back into the black hole they crawled out of. My headspace is more stable now, and there are no quick fixes I could give the dimmer version of myself or my friends who figured we didn't have a future worth living in. But if I could transmit a message, I would at least let myself know that you don't have to rise above the whole world just to feel strong. Exponential exhaustion trying to burn brilliantly from every break of dawn, working twice as hard to get half as far, refusing surrender to condensation. Greenhouse trap emotions until they overheat, solar flaring nostrils fighting to get enough oxygen under all this atmospheric intensity, while pretending to be unfazed, still convinced that to love or to be loved is to burn, but no one's wings will melt just because you let them close. You do not have to stay 94 million miles away from the people you love most when loneliness is somehow a pandemic on an overcrowded planet, seated in a cafeteria packed with star pupils, secretly drowning in dark matter. They said, everyone close your eyes and raise your hand if you've ever considered extinguishing your own flame. I remember being so tempted to peek just so I would know whether or not I was alone. You are one powerful piece of the cosmos all on your own, but burnout is not a requirement of being a superstar. It does not have to be. The days you contemplate if greeting another morning is worth it at all. I too know the strain of waking up on this planet, grateful to still have breath, yet clutching my chest. It's not that I don't want to be here. It's the constant politics, pollution, profiling police adamant that you're a tectonic anatomy is a nuclear weapon, weary from wandering this earth in search of a safe land to land in, wary of every twilight zone where sundown means the streetlights come on, and not every northward shine is guiding you home, but we, each and every one of us little lights, are supposed to be a cumulative constellation, a united population, a human race, and it is our responsibility to ensure that the weight of the world never falls solely on one set of shoulders. So, no matter the burdens of this life, let your radiance be a source of revolutionary joy in a dark night. Be the brighter side of someone else's moon. Trust that when you crash land, someone will come running, ignite, and kindle small fires. One calloused hand, one classroom, one beating heart at a time, and watch the way the whole galaxy lights up.
Every single night. My brain is a place of deep concern to me. My brain is a place of butterflies and octopi. You haven't seen a place such as this, and I'm so happy for you. You tell me to smile and chalk it all up to my negative attitude. And when I text you to say I feel sick, that I'm afraid of the coat hanger snagging the uterus and bleeding me out, of random murder, of sexual demons, of all the roadkill, you say, I think too much. You say maybe we shouldn't be friends, because when I am this negative, it's upsetting to you. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry I cannot fix my slippery gray cell patina, the smile slime of a Barbie doll on acid, the cool way I snort up the powder of suicide, the way I drink myself to oblivion, decimate my skeleton on the cliff of hopelessness. I fall short. When it comes to being in the world like a good girl, I am terrible at it because I am hurting in my brain. And then you say, I'm a lot to handle and you need some time, space away from me. I'm sorry for this. I don't think I can be normal for you. It's agony to feel the driveway gravel puncturing my knees as I wait for things to get better, as I beg God to turn me around, let him spank me red, raw, or kiss the toes of his son. You know I would. Go outside and let the cold burn me, as if it could pasteurize the fetid illness, freeze the chlamydia, the rot, the yellowed liver, brain disease. I imagine you chewing on my sinews. A rabid squirrel hoarding all the acorns, clogging up my limbic system, gnawing the naughty synapse gleaned, all just to make me behave better. I don't think you have the energy. I want to be the chickadee who freezes to death on a shimmering pine branch, falls from her perch without ever knowing of death, without ever feeling a goddamn thing. And I am so sorry for this.
15 years working with traumatized teenage girls will teach you bad behavior is usually just pain with terrible public relations. I learned not to ask why a child keeps running until I know what taught her staying was dangerous. There was one girl who ran every time we scheduled her to see the gynecologist. We thought she was refusing health care. Turns out she was refusing to surrender the only weapon nobody could take from her. See, before she came to us, men trafficked her, turned a child's body into inventory, made purchase orders out of predators, and somehow she was the product society kept returning to the shelf. Her body caught diseases because nobody caught the men. By the time she reached us, infection had become strategy. The other girls teased her about the smell, called her dirty. She knew, but humiliation was safer than being wanted because somewhere along the way she discovered when her body was sick, men left it alone down. Do you hear me? Disease had better consent practices than grown-ass men. Bacteria respected boundaries her traffickers wouldn't, so she turned infection into protection. Made sickness a security system, her body a house condemned, just so nobody would try to move in. And we kept trying to cure what she had learned to use as a weapon. Every test came back positive, except the one asking whether anybody had ever protected her. See, I thought healthy meant safe. She knew better. To her, healthy meant desirable. Desirable meant profitable. So every time we said, we're going to make you better, trauma translated, we're going to make you marketable again. Maybe that's what we never understood. She wasn't trying to become worthless. She was trying to become worth less to the men who kept calculating her value by what they could take from her. My God, what kind of childhood teaches a girl to weaponize her own suffering? How many times does no have to be ignored before infection becomes the loudest boundary her body knows how to draw? She was engineering survival with whatever materials trauma left behind. And isn't that the ugliest mathematics? When a child calculates sick, smelly, and disease is safer than men. We were trying to save her life. She was trying to save her body. Neither of us understood why those had become two very different things. Everybody loves a survival story. We applaud the living like breathing means they got out for free, but survival always sends an invoice. Some children spend the rest of their lives paying interest on debts somebody else's violence put in their name. Imagine surviving childhood only to discover your body kept the receipts. Healing and healed are not always the same thing. How are you expected to heal when healing cannot always return you to the body you had before somebody hurt it? I don't know where she is now. I hope she learned to live beautifully. But years later, I still carry the equation, still wonder how many girls we call difficult, dirty, fast, troubled, self-destructive, when what we're actually witnessing is a child building a fortress out of everything that tried to kill her.
Daylight finds a brownie in a room full of poets, already suspicious. Poets will hand you anything and call it community care. I eat it, whole thing, no warning saying, Jessie, this dessert is about to put your body on the open mic. 45 minutes, nothing. I'm talking reckless. This brownie is weak. Who baked this? A Presbyterian? And then my eyelids put on sweatpants. Oh, there you are. And suddenly I can feel everything. My socks, my teeth, my hoodie touching me, my left nipple has breaking news, and I'm surrounded by poets trying to act normal while my nervous system starts its own open mic. Somebody reads tenderness and my clit goes, yeah. Oh shit, shh. Girl, we're in public. Why is my clit responding to me in metaphor? Nobody called on you. Now she's snapping, Bitch, do not audience participate. Then somebody says hands. Absolutely not, because now I notice every poet's hands. Why do y'all gesture so much? Put your wrists away. I'm high. One woman reaches for her water and suddenly her forearm has cinematography. My clit whispers, I like this poem. You don't even understand symbolism. She says, I understand tone. Shh. Now I don't know if I'm thinking this or if my face has subtitles. Act natural. Drink water. I take one sip. Jesus. Water's got texture. I can feel that shit going down. The poet beside me goes, you good? Absolutely. Do I look geographically altered? Then my heart goes boom, and suddenly normal biology is suspicious. Why are you beating so loud? Heart says, because I'm a heart. Okay, but everybody can hear you. Can weed make you die? Don't answer. Anybody know CPR? No? Don't look at me. I'm fine. I'm just experiencing my bloodstream and surround sound. And then somebody opens chips. Oh my God. Crunch. Why is chewing inside my skull? Somebody laughs and I laugh. Another poet laughs and now the whole row is gone. We have officially crossed from poetry reading into incident. And wait, why did you just swallow? Why are you aware of your tongue? Don't check your heartbeat. Too late. Don't look at anybody's hands. Got you. And absolutely do not think about your clit would text if she had thumbs. Oh, shit, there it is. You thought you were watching me get high. Not really. I've been passing this brownie through the poem, and now your mouth is dry, time feels sticky, and somebody in here is suddenly way finer than the situation requires. Somebody wants chips, somebody's horny, and somebody's concerned, and at least one poet just had the greatest idea of their career. Write it down. Tomorrow it will say, "By ranch." Welp, daylight finds a brownie, the brownie finds me, and somehow my high ass finds all of you. My nervous system is officially a group poem, and congratulations, you're all accomplices now. Shh, don't make eye contact, it makes it worse. Fuck, y'all high too now.
Try to ignore the crow that caws at 4 a.m. Is it calling my name? How does it know my name? It's just a crow, and it's just a dream, but I'm fully awake. Up early in the morning, these delusions keep me up. Crow keeps scratching at outside my window. Voice under the pillow keeps whispering. Can't look in the mirror because it's just a little off. The timing, that smile. I'm not smiling. Try to ignore it all, but it weighs heavily in my chest anytime the room feels a little too dark. Anytime I have to be outside at night, shadows move among the shadows a little too quietly, with nothing there causing them. My aunt warned me, always ignore my name. Same warning as grandmother. There's something following you just beyond the veil, waiting, calling your name, hoping you answer back, hoping to catch you when you're on the edge of sleep and think it's a dream and mutter an answer that's enough for them to enter. Freshly awake from a dream, I don't remember falling asleep, thought I was the damn crow flying, watching shadows, watching reflections, watching myself. That was just a dream, right? Family warned me not to talk to my aunt. They said she's insane and grandmother is gone. I don't know what to do. They won't listen. So I find her number and call my aunt. She doesn't live there anymore. They say she's in an asylum, that I don't want to see her, that she is not well. Did she go insane? Maybe she did. Maybe she answered to her name, and that's what happens when you do. I'm so tired of resisting the pull, of ignoring it all. Maybe it would be better to go insane. Maybe within insanity I would no longer be afraid. Maybe. But then I'm flying again. I catch my reflection in a window mid-flight. Something is off. For a moment I lose my wind, start to tumble in the air, and catch myself before I hit the ground. Swoop inches away from a shadow with teeth. I land in my own bed as if from inches above it. Am I awake? Maybe I don't want to be. Maybe I don't ever want to wake up again. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's safer here than awake, flying on the wings of a crow. Now I hear my aunt's voice under the pillow, croaked through feather and beak. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear them calling my name? Can you hear my name from under the pillow? Can you hear my name from the crow sitting on my windowsill? I'm sitting on my windowsill, tumbling through the air.
What sound does a cow make? A question posed in some damned mad juxtaposition, artistic quandary, posing wisdom from bovine angels at right angles from wrong churns. And what sound does a cow? We all know. We all know. We all consensus. A cow says conform. Contain that shine in fits pastures past their prime, caged fields devoid of life. Repeat the line. A cow says moo. A cow says moo. A cow says. Dangerous to ask why when the bulls producing bullshit hold truth hostage at horn point to convenient narratives. A cow says friggin' moo. Now you repeat after me. Don't bother listening or seeing. Watch if you will, but we provide the filter and the filtered milk. After we take the cream, ask no questions, just repeat after me. A cow says whatever the hell we say it does. We bought the farm, so we define facts, confine truth, contain thoughts and life and heartbeats and drum beats and cages. And a cow says moo. A cow says no. You bought the farm, but never my freedom. That was never for sale. I'll take my cows free range, my milk unfiltered, my grass bullshit free. You don't own me. What sound does a cow make? What sound does a cow make? Maybe you should just stop to fucking listen. My cows sing.
It has taken me decades to allow the shock to seep in. Yeah, the shock. I see now that you hid behind the color of my skin to camouflage those tendencias colonizadoras implicit in your patriarchal machismo. You made it about me and the flawed decisions of my ancestors. And it was subtle enough that I ignored the stings, like the quickly fading sunburns that freckle my body and damage the internal structure of my cells. I didn't see the covert control hidden in your silences that iced me out, leaving me exposed. You wrapped up my shame in a white sheet, the unavoidable burden of our mix of ancestral planes, but I now understood how you forced them all on me while crying victim into my pillows. I welcomed your desire at face value, never thinking to question your sincerity within the contract we signed, the one that legally bound us into community. You remember that day? You showed up all on your own, signed your name, pusiste tu firma. We had witnesses, so fuck your present insistence that I malevolently forced you into some sort of marital bliss, as though it were such an unbearable burden to eat my food and lie in my bed, while I suckled your children and mourned the one that almost killed me before birth. And every gratitude that I undressed before you was brushed away with the details of how I fell short in my offerings. My light was sucked into the black hole of your need for entitlement, and I retreated to the gray fog of decontextualized humanity. Your adaptation became the burden that I carried like that tinaja cargada with my favorite mecapal, unboiled river water teeming with parasites, leaving me sick, unable to purge it fast enough to regain some balance. I get it now. In your mind and on my birth certificate, I am the oppressor who refused your love language. But it wasn't until I read my poetry out loud that I realized you refused to learn mine. And as I scraped together the courage to stand tall and speak on stages you refused to visit, I rekindled my self-worth while you slammed the door behind you, leaving our children crying on the stoop.
Roadkill. A psychic once told me, manda corazones y sigue mandando corazones. But wait, no, look. Let me translate a bit to my non-Spanish speakers before you tune me out. I said a psychic once told me to send hearts and keep sending hearts. Yeah, at that moment, giving those instructions, I didn't understand. Now with time apart from that moment, I think I have an idea what she meant, but in order for you to understand me, I must disclose a little bit more before I really get into it. You see, lately my mind has been scattered and splattered just like the blood found on the concrete streets you drove over on the way to your current destination. I catch myself overthinking how that blood ever made it on the streets? Was it a hit and run? Was it a blood of an animal or a person? Was it another ICE agent self-defense kill? Shoot. All I know is that no matter what side of town I'm in these days, if I drive a little further in, I'll see a homeless person finding a way to get comfortable to lay down, to sleep on the same streets decomposing animals are being left there for days before they're even picked up by the city. At least those dead animals are being picked up because the homeless, no, they're left there exactly where they are and handed a nickel as if by choice they want to be there. So I've been on this new road called sobriety because it's been a point where I got tired of feeling numb to my surroundings, and plus my tolerance was only becoming higher to all of it, and I wouldn't be functional, and I couldn't see it any farther. So soon enough, I did have to call it quits. Some nights, I didn't even know how I made it home alive, while other nights, I remember every detail, down to the details where I've caught myself counting how many altars do I see on the sides of roads, on the mediums between two-way roads, and even on altars that I find on the highway barriers. It's as if someone somehow standing as close as possible to where their heart beated for the last time might be some momentum towards closure. But I gotta guess, it must hurt like hell. It must break their heart to know that that's where they were left to die alone. It's a beautiful world with such madness vibes covered over like an umbrella with holes. But no, wait, I mean, I get it. It sounds a bit pessimistic, but please let me disclose some more from where I'm coming from. I'm still grieving. I'm still grieving that half of us didn't make it past 2020. I'm still grieving every time I hear about my best friend talking about how much she misses her mom and dad, while I still have both alive and feel indifferent with them most times. I'm still grieving over all the stories my ex-boss can speak about, feeling her hands tied with years of running a homeless shelter. I'm still grieving the healthy parts of myself I miss because of unfavorable circumstances I had to face. I'm still grieving because the news will never lighten up about how fearful it truly is to be alive these days. I guess it all comes back to what that psychic once told me. Send hearts and keep sending hearts, except I didn't come to understand it. I came to learn how to feel it. I've cried. I've cried as if it was all my own pain. Yet, without all I have suffered, all I have physically endured with this one vessel I have in this lifetime, I wouldn't be as I am right now. All that comes with my gratitude to say I wouldn't change a thing of what I've been through. No, it's not an easy pill to swallow. It won't be understood by others. It's a journey I have been given. It's up to me to make it all worth the while, to live as easy as I can, or live in punishment of it all. Both truths can't live simultaneously, yet one does outweigh the other. So my smiles come with knowing pain. And when I'm on social media, I heart posts that I find need some love from a stranger like myself. As I've learned, there's a balance with what is given without choice and what we become by choice.
They were burning up in a storm of grief. Inviting the pain in also meant cutting open their vulnerability to every other energy field within their community. Grief invites catharsis. It means unmasking, being raw, open, honest, and authentic. It means letting go, feeling all that needs to be acknowledged. Grief is an act of rebellion, of defiance in a world of superficiality and control. Grief means they must walk with uncomfortable truths. It is insistent, disciplined, loving. Courage and love must lead the way, otherwise they will be consumed from within and defeated. pay attention to the ancestors in our midst.
Thorns bloomed in my throat while I tried to muster up enough courage to face you. I ran circles around your heart, avoiding the love you were trying to give. I watched from the distance, the flame in your eyes turned liquid, and I handed you scars for tissue, hoping to cover the pain. I missed the opportunity because the sun never sets in the same place twice. Regret has a cruel way of teaching us lessons after a final goodbye, and I've been trying to rewind water, asking tears to remember how to become flame. I bled in full color, sending false rainbows across other people's skies, never showing that the true color of my blue was the hurt I caused you. I folded your forgiveness into apologies too small to hold us. If I could, I would crack open my chest, hand you my heart, and hope that would take the pain away. I wish I could have turned the voices off in my head. I wish I could have turned the music up, but I got trapped in my own mind, creating problems that were never there, manufacturing monsters while becoming one in your memories, giving your peace a reason to sleep with one eye open. I didn't mean to haunt your dreams, tearing down your walls of insecurity just to become a reason you replace brick with steel. I left your laughter limping, putting a stutter in your trust, turning your peace into pieces you're still trying to put back together. I'm sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. It was never my intention to tattoo my name on your wounds in permanent ink. No amount of erasure can unwrite an apology, so here I stand. An entire apology between my teeth, watching you from across the street, close enough for my eyes to reach you, but too far for my courage to cross without ever allowing you to hear it.
Our trees are too thirsty to remember sweat. The sweet charisma of desert survival, like the womb of a woman over 40, or the mouth of her daughter, promised by the perception of a boy who will extinguish her fire to save his. I wonder what the rings will look like on the cross-section of our great cottonwoods, still ripe for harvest, fall into the tyranny of heat. Since it's just another desert day, we must tolerate the black eye from those not worthy of our journey. The soles of my feet find path across water, or the scars of where water once raged. My beloved Rio Grande, great one. I remember as a child crossing on my gray gelding, rescued from the racetrack. It took months, really years, to decipher his love language. But every day that summer, we would track through the bosque. I sat straddling his back. Water came up to my feet across his belly to the girth of my saddle. He and the other horses would paw at the water, twinkling with dragonflies and sunshine. I'm still unsure if it was excitement or uncertainty, but eventually he trusted me enough to cross, to step forward and go deep into the basin of our footprints. We spent days upon days in the shade of those cottonwood trees, tiny toes hopping in and out of hoof prints in the now empty arroyo sand. Now as dry as his ashes, I never got to spread. Storms surge in such a hurry these days, as if they expect the ground to open up with gratitude and a wide mouth, surrender to man's influence on the mother. When I, too, am a mother, and we both wail upon broken promises until my kitchen window is flooded and there aren't enough towels as lightning cracks furiously in the sky, reminds me I am minuscule and temporary and a fraction of where I'm meant to be because my daughters are not here tonight. The clock ticks another year ahead as faraway waters offer reparations on this land that only ever belonged to the sky and the horses that dared cross the river. I sweat, lifting heavy debris, sweep this overdue water from my porch for my community that celebrates my birthday tomorrow. And my womb over 40, and my children who are gone, and the breath that still clings in my lungs that tried to kill me last year, to remember the best smell in the world is a horse crossing a raging river who trusts the human to get across together. I still feel his mane entangled in my fingers, as his ears perked ahead and his eyes, the way they looked at me when he turned his head. Total trust, total uncertainty. So when we found our footing and dug deep, emerged on the other side of the river, he shook his entire body and I giggled, for his movements were so powerful. He shook my entire little girl life, and I was reminded how just a passenger I was on the back of my best friend who has never really left me.
To the victor, go the spoils, is what they say. But I want to live in a world where we love each other and speak hosannas to unity, because we all lose. Every time a mother cries over a child unalived by hands armed with hatred, arrogance, and ignorance, they deny our connectivity and act with impunity. To pretend their motive is piety is gaslighting by society, and societal ignorance may be a majority, but it does not negate the suffering of the minority. A refusal to see does not change the facts. It is evidentiary. It's the spoils of the victor being haughty, without empathy, living in a tower of pomposity. We must all come to agree that what matters is the safety, security, health, and stability of every person. That is the sacred goal of our American assembly. Until this is our adopted reason to hold on to the principle of freedom, we are lost in the desert and in need of guidance to the mindset of holy, not dogma, but divine calling, that every child of God deserves love and sustenance. My prayer is that we gain the recognizance to fulfill that promise and the understanding that every hurt laid is an injury each of us must rebraid and integrate. I pray we live in healing and not wound dealing, that we each offer a hand of brotherly love, because we are all connected. We share the same stars. I pray we stand together, back to back, holding the dark at bay with divine love and light. And until we hold space for the beauty of our differentness, we are nothing but the spoils of the victor's avarice.
They walked in, wearing judgment like a second skin, eyes sharp, dissecting me as if I were a specimen. Each glance and appraisement stitched with sin. I could hear the smirk sliding onto their face, soundless sneers that whispered, "You are smaller than me." But oh, the delight in knowing how wrong they were. So wrong. "You're emotional," they said. Like it was a verdict passed down from Mount Olympus, their voice smooth as stone eroded by arrogance, disdain dripping slow and steady like a faucet that refuses to shut off. But here's the thing about drips. They erode with time. And I was a mountain long before they arrived. They sat me down, as if gravity worked harder on me, as if the chair beneath me wasn't wood, but weight, the air thick with, not empathy, but power. Theirs borrowed, mine born. Their clipboard became a cudgel, tool for peeling back layers of my skin, and I thought, this is the system they swear protects the innocent? Suddenly, the table wasn't a table anymore. It was a battlefield. "Let me explain," they began. Voice, blade, dulled by its own repetition. And I thought, you've chosen the wrong opponent. They had theories crafted in the cold cathedral of bureaucracy, far from the cries of children at midnight vigils. They spoke of risk factors and protocols as if care could be cataloged in numbers and nodes and love could be logged in ledges. But tell me this, what metric measures the hours I've held my breath, listening for the rise and fall of hers? What formula calculates the cost of swallowing fear whole so my child can taste courage instead and let some measure of peace live rent-free in her head? I could see it then. A tide of clipboards rising high, sea of ink spilling into waves of black, parents sinking beneath its weight, the bureaucracy pulling them under, and the air shifted then. And I smiled because they didn't see me, not as the scholar or architect of my own knowledge. To them, I was an outline drawn in dull pencil, simple silhouette fading in the shadow of their clipboard, just another parent dragged in by desperation, too full of emotion to hold any expertise. Their gaze flicked over me like static, restless, dismissive, uninterested in clarity, because to them, degrees are currency, and they assumed my pockets were empty, mistaking my silence for bankruptcy, never realizing I held the mint. And it's funny, isn't it? How a title stenciled in combination with your name can turn a smirk into a nod. Wall of bookshelves becomes armor. Diplomas on a wall can serve as shield against cheap shots of their ignorance. But what they didn't know is that I was the curator of truths they couldn't comprehend. You see, I said, my voice slicing through their certainty, I know your playbook. I let the words hang in the air, heavy as iron, but sharper than wire. The veiled threats, the insinuations, the endless reams of jargon you hide behind like curtains that only look like walls. And I leaned in, the distance between us dissolving into a battlefield of breath and resolve. I said I could write the playbook better than you. But instead, I had questions to ask them. Like, when did arrogance become protocol? When did superiority sterilize compassion? What kind of savior stacks the deck, then blames the desperate for folding? And their faces paled, as if my words were seismic enough to rattle their credentials right off the wall. The clipboard quivered in their hands, and I thought, oh, so now you're listening? Isn't it strange how respect finally arrives when it's dragged into the light, kicking and screaming? And I saw, for the first time I saw it, the flicker of fear behind their gaze. Not fear of me, but fear of being seen. Their clipboard dipped slightly, weight of their paper-thin power suddenly too much to hold. And then the walls began to laugh. Soft at first, then louder, each brick trembling with the absurdity of the lie. You don't want what's best, they said. And the voice wasn't mine anymore, it was the room's. The walls. It was every parent who had sat there before me, whose silence had been mistaken for surrender. They don't want what's best. They want what's easier, what fits neatly into their paperwork, what doesn't disturb the fragile ecosystem of their bureaucracy. But I'm not here for their convenience. I am not here to make their lives easier. I am here for my child. But this isn't for them. This is for you. For the parents who sit in chairs like this one. For every parent who feels the weight of the system, which is either working as intended or intentionally broken. Their spines bending under the weight of unjustified jargons. Hear me. You are not their shadow. You are not their victim. You are the storm they didn't forecast, the wildfire they cannot outrun. This is your reminder that your silence is not submission, that your knowledge, whether learned in the chaos of raising a child or in classrooms, is a weapon sharper than their assumptions. So advocate. Even when your voice shakes, because know this, they want you weary, wordless. They want you to wilt beneath the spotlight of their scrutiny, but don't. Let your silence stretch like a bowstring. And when it snaps, let your words fly like arrows tipped with flame. So when they corner you with questions that are answers in disguise, when they mistake your silence for surrender, let them find out what silence really sounds like when it breaks. Speak. Speak and let the air split. Let the clipboard shatter, its jagged edges cutting the air, because this room is not theirs. These walls do not belong to them. And when you leave the door swinging wide air still heavy with your name. And to those who sit in chairs of false superiority, clutching clipboards like shields, know this: you don't intimidate me. You inspire me to burn the whole damn system down and rebuild it with the ashes of your ignorance. So here we are. You clutching your clipboard like a lifeline. Me standing in the fire you tried to ignite, and yet I am not burning, I am building. I said, your policies are cages, protocols, prisons, and your clipboard I gesture at, the dripping ink pooling at their feet, is nothing but paper waiting to burn. And now, standing, I said, ask me again, do you know what's best for your child? And for the first time, they didn't.
The usual question is why? What made you be a poet? I've heard about how death turns some people, jail time, bad fortune. I can't claim any of that. I'm a poet because even at 5, you know when the Lord is talking to you. I'm a poet because God laid his hand on me and said, here am I, now speak. So if you hear something in this poem you know and believe, say amen. If you hear something you don't know but want to believe, sing wow. And if you don't know and can't believe, then tip your waiter and prove you tried to keep Trump the hell out of office, so you have done something useful with your sorry self. I am a poet because love laid its light on my parents' marriage. They held each other's hearts like jewels, polished with 5 girls, money problems, fights, and good times, so that when my mother said no to the chemo, no to the surgery, no to the cancer, she died smiling in my father's arms. I am a poet because every 7 seconds a woman is raped, because every 2 minutes a child is molested, because every half hour somebody dies alone. And every hour on the hour, government commits genocide while big business pats itself on the back. Because I applaud innovation, but tradition is the fire at which my soul warms itself. I am a poet because my nephew's smiles hang the stars. I have friends and sisters whose personal job it is in life to mess with me all the time. Because my baby misses me so bad when I'm away and loves me back home so sweet. I am a poet because using the language properly is like good sex. If you can't stroke it, kiss it, lay it down till it screams with every intended passion, keep your damn mouth shut. I am a poet because of Aretha Franklin, Langston Hughes, Mahalia Maya, and Dylan Thomas, Meddy Evans, Sonia Sanchez, Dr. Barbiera, Nora Jones, Duke Ellington, Nikki Giovanni, and Shaka Khan. Because of Alexander Dumas' Père et Fils, Raymond Chandler, Tina Marie, and Johann Sebastian Bach. I am a poet because when Smokey sang, let me be the clock for the time of your life, every woman in the world said, tick-tock, baby. I am a poet because when I was wrong, my parents did not medicate, therapy, or offer alternative behaviors. They smacked my hand, whipped my butt, and made me hold my head up to say, I'm sorry. I am a poet because I am a Black woman in a white world whose prayers to the ancestors bring down fire from the sky that I kiss into the diamonds I want to hang in your ears. Because the words retard, fag, slut, nigga bitch are still accepted and recognized parts of conversation. I am a poet because Sacagawea got jacked up on the gold dollar, Cleopatra was a sister, and because rejecting European standards of beauty, I roll out every morning so damn fine that I am illegal in all 50 states and most of the U.S. territories. I am a poet because I know God, because I know he laid his hand on me and said, here am I. Now speak.
No is a whole sentence, not a question or suggestion. No is the entire answer, not an invitation for coercion. No, backed by tears, should have changed your decision. No, I'm not in the mood doesn't mean harass me until I give in. No, please just hear me. Listen to the anguish I'm drowning in. No, do I need to scream it for you to hear how I despise me? No, please not tonight. But it's my love you weaponize. No. My voice falters, hating the victory in your eyes. No. I whimper defeated. Familiar caresses make my heart cry. No. Whispered within as I endure lovemaking that feels like lies. No, I don't want this. Fake it till you make Fake it to make it go away, my mind cries. No. Self-loathing in every tear he ignores. No self-worth remains as I allow him to take me nightly like a whore. No, I can't. I won't let him do this to me anymore. No. I linger at work, desperate to avoid the touch I abhor. No. I practice as I drive back to a home I once adored. No. His nightly need, my duty to heed, no right to ignore? No! Coercion is not consent! No! Don't touch me! Tears fall in traitorous dissent. No! My voice cracks. Just let it happen, he says. No! He tries to caress, but I cringe away. No! I see his manipulation play. No! An eerie calm settles in, his hold broken. No, don't touch me. Just here to get my things.
Tumble down rabbit holes in rabid homes where madmen swear to tell the whole lie and nothing but. Spilled guts in a world where we forgot to care. Not that no one wanted to recover the lost son. It's no one noticed his falling from grace, but we still sing the song and oh, how sweet the sound. Just don't look down. You're falling too. Falling for fables where heroes are flawless, solutions infallible, and shards left behind. Well, let others face the fallout. We have playgrounds and dreams and today's little fantasies to build. Facades are easier to face than real dirt. Sandcastle plays disguising real hurt until waves wash in, and then, like Jericho's walls, they all come tumbling down. Society's suicide note on Twitter and text. Google the subtext and only acceptable faces appear, and we haven't even gotten to the nightly feeds from the Ministry of Mind Wash. You call it news. I call it Stockholm Syndrome. Abuse the dome long enough, the public begs to be used. Just give us our toys and ignore those wounded ones we left in our wake. Their fault for being broken. Brother, keep on talking and look away. Those lashes look a lot like yours. Kind of scars imposed where white rabbits preach acceptable lies and designer pills make you smaller. We thought we were building a wonderland.
Eating like a king in this empty castle, purple beer and a purple shirt, but my queen is 1,000 miles away. Knee deep in treasure, I crunch on corn dogs and sip sour ale, staring out the window at cars passing by, wondering where the passengers are being taken, fantasizing about destinations, places, and buttons being pushed. My beat-up sneakers stay in the corner waiting to be walked. My crown is around here somewhere. Dishes for one dry on the towel. Well-used cast iron sits on the stove, aching to be loved like before. Twinkle lights blink year-round. The picture in the frame changes every 5 minutes. My children's smiles and a woman who doesn't smile at me anymore. In my fridge is a museum of half-filled water bottles. Every one a different drive, dropping off my son at college. Just started adding new ones from my daughter. I can't bear to pour them out. Patiently, I wait for my queen's return, dreaming of her in royal garb, pens and paper, scribbles and scrawls, love notes strewn across the table. I pace about composing poems. I hope somewhere out there is a talented poet with nothing wrong with them. No scars, but still spitting fire. I have trouble telling the difference between a microphone and a scalpel. I've got a rib spreader I like to use on stage. Perhaps you've seen my heart the last time I passed it around. My doctor says I'm out to pasture. Hard days done. I get to choose my path from here so long as it isn't work, which I can't. My queen loves me anyhow. I bring a poem to a fist fight and get punched. But she takes me back, broken nose and all.
My favorite Pixar movie is Toy Story 3. A little reminder that you've got a friend in me. Late nights bundled in my blanket, my brother in his, watching the toys try not to end up in someone else's attic. I remember how that is. Air mattress and a couple of covers, carrying what I can in one backpack, extra clothes, snacks, school supplies, and whatever other who's-its and what's-its and gadgets and gizmos will get me through the nights. I know what it's like, feeling as though there's nowhere else to go, whirled up in a tornado trying to tap my shoes 3 times and wake up at home, wherever that would be. 1 week basement sleeping, couch surfing, wandering down the yellow brick road. I know this plot line, this conflict of not having a roof over my head, but always having walls built up around me, the pressure of building a house of cards and juggling to keep everything from collapsing. You have to grow up so fast. A lost girl who never lives in Neverland, and suddenly summer vacation is just a vacant pause in between stable placements. Christmas break is a long stretch of cold days where spaces close at odd hours. Classic. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. But where do you stay when you can't stay in the same place? When the public parks lock chains around the gates and the library shuts for the night, when imagination and cardboard is not enough to build a house of gold, or gumballs a castle of glass, or anything at all. The problem with growing older is that fears get to grow up too. I'm still anxious whenever I receive a notification that reads housing at the top, a happily ever after, affected by a past disaster nowadays. When I watch Woody, Buzz, Jessie, and Bullseye survive being forgotten, betrayed, and thrown away on accident, I imagine how much the abandonment remains an issue, but not enough to crush the part of them that still comes to life. Maybe it's the pathway Simba always takes back to the Pride Lands, the commitment to just keep swimming from Nemo, Marlin, and Dory, the underlying message of so many books, movies, series, and poems, that wherever my story goes, I've learned how to make it home.
Sullen girl. My body in fragments at a party in the closet. I lock the door. They cannot get to me in here. Elusive Elisabeth, high school dropout, the mother of my rapist, claims I am odd. She does not know her own son was in here. Is there anyone left who has not been raped? Something taken, something gone from what we were at 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 30, 40, 50, 90? Is there any air left to breathe which is not tainted in here? Picking up the seashells like the bones of my childhood, empty concholine hulls, the rotten abalone, the stolen pearl. I walk into the ocean without a breathing apparatus. I lock the doors to my heart, my body, my mind. I sink into the sand, a shipwreck no one understands, while I exhale into nothing. The mother of my rapist is knocking on the closet door. She is demanding to know who is hiding in here. In front of others, she identifies me, elusive Elisabeth. She is escalating this, and I am still hiding in here.
Poem before I'm censored. I'm here to say what I probably can't say without my name being added to a list. But secretly, it'd be like Nazi Germany up in here, and everything is being recorded. There's a dragon and a bear waiting for the eagle to fall, but the bear stepped in a pile of quicksand and democracy teeter-totters on the edge of disaster, praying to Jesus. But Jesus didn't pay the phone bill, and it seemed like nobody's home, while civil war looms on the horizon in a megaverse already poisoned by Twitter, and speaking truth to power might easily have one labeled anti-Semitic. But Joe Sixpack missed out on critical race theory. It's only taught in college, so the truth was omitted from his storybooks, and Semitic is beyond understanding to a sixth grader's reading comprehension. Nobody told him that the war between the states is over and he lost. So January 6th was a warning drill for the future. And I just want to know, are you paying attention yet? I'm not too sure about the Holy Babel, but the Ukraine sure seems like Armageddon, and the Proud Boys insurrection seemed like a good rehearsal, where gentrification is warfare in these yet-to-be United States. Iran executes women for wearing hijabs. They called it crimes against God. But there's blood in the water. Is that not a crime against God? There are riots in Peru. The gavel gave Gravedigger something, so what can be done since Roe is dead? After all, Tom S. Clarence judged it. And what could you expect? After all, his wife is melanin deficient and thinks the election was stolen, as the White House is in disarray, and we wait to see if Trump or Skin Thin will be convicted. Common sense left the building a long time ago. Now I'm wondering what the king would say, and where's John Brown when you need him? We are not minorities but oppressed nationalities. Millions at the border trying to take their land back, so I think they're scared of us. Will that stop genocide? After all, has there ever really been peace on earth? When guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. But how will the gunless be protected? We'd best pray for a day when armies refuse to fight.
I've mistaken too many winters for funerals. Buried things because they stopped blooming, called them dead because I could no longer recognize them beneath the snow. Perimenopause will do that to you. Turn your body into a house where somebody keeps changing the thermostat without your permission. 1 minute, you're fine. The next, your internal organs have apparently been relocated to hell. And somewhere between the hot flashes, the brain fog, the exhaustion, I started packing pieces of myself away. Not intentionally, just one small surrender at a time. I stopped getting my nails done, partially because I developed an allergy to acrylic, and partly because press-ons require a level of emotional commitment I no longer possess, because nothing will make you question your entire existence quite like looking down and realizing you only have 9 fingernails. And now I'm supposed to remember where the 10th one went. Ma'am, I came into this room for something 20 minutes ago and still don't know what it is. That nail belongs to God now. So I stopped. And somewhere along the way, I stopped wearing makeup as much too, because apparently foundation and hot flashes have irreconcilable differences. And Fresno heat does not give a damn how much the setting spray costs. So I stopped. And I told myself I didn't care. I'm grown. Who am I getting dressed up for anyway? Who needs nails? Who needs any of it? Funny how quickly I don't feel like it today can become, I guess I don't do that anymore. And I didn't realize how many pieces of myself I quietly converted into past tense, even pleasure. See, for most of my life, self pleasure and I were not friends. I had opinions, strong ones. If pleasure was going to arrive, I preferred delivery with a tracking number and somebody else's hands responsible for the package. But then perimenopause came with all the little pamphlets about declining this and changing that. And somewhere along the way, I started believing desire had simply become another thing my body no longer did. Turns out I was never opposed to tending my own garden. I just needed the right man on my mind while I watered it. Apparently, motivation matters. And apparently, there is a man whose voice has been granted administrative access to the parts of my nervous system I thought had been decommissioned. So this morning, I conducted a little systems check purely for research purposes. And wouldn't you know it, everything still works. But that wasn't the part that surprised me. I recognized the woman who got up afterward. She was happy, like noticeably happy, walking around smiling for no damn reason, patient, unbothered, almost pleasant. And that was when I realized, wait, maybe she isn't gone. Maybe none of her is. Maybe the woman who likes her nails done, the woman who likes catching herself in the mirror and thinking, yes, maybe she didn't disappear. Maybe the woman who likes being desired, who desires, who still has a little mischief living behind her smile, wasn't buried by middle age. Maybe I have been standing over perfectly living things giving eulogies because they stopped performing on command, because dormancy is not death. Sometimes a living thing pulls itself beneath the surface when the environment can no longer sustain the way it used to bloom. It conserves, waits, protects the root, and from above, it looks like nothing is happening, but underneath, life is still lifing, waiting for warmth, for water, for something that reminds it the season has changed. And maybe that's what happened to me. Maybe perimenopause wasn't stealing my femininity. Maybe my body was renegotiating the conditions under which she blooms. Maybe I don't need to become the woman I was before. Maybe I need to meet the woman I am now. Find out what makes her feel beautiful, playful, what makes her decorate herself just because she likes what she sees, what makes her body remember its own language. And yes, apparently a certain voice can provide favorable growing conditions. But let's be clear, he's not my spring. He did not bring me back to life. He simply made enough noise in the garden for me to notice something was still growing. And now I'm looking at every part of myself I thought I'd lost differently. Maybe I don't need to mourn her. Maybe I need to water her. Maybe I've spent too much time measuring this season against the flowers I used to grow, as if beauty has only one blooming season, as if the woman I was is the only version of me allowed to be beautiful, as if full bloom only gets one definition. Maybe this. The heat, the softness, the wanting, the remembering, the woman learning how to adorn herself again, the body discovering new ways to say yes. Maybe this is full bloom too, not restored, not returned, reimagined. Because I have mistaken too many winters for funerals, and I refuse to bury another version of myself just because she hasn't bloomed yet.
This is called Insert Coin. Welcome to the gender arcade. Quarter in, boy gets a gun, girl gets a kitchen, everybody wins a tiny plastic trauma. Over here, the claw machine. Men spend generations trying to grab whatever they can't name. Masculine woman, claw drops. Lesbian, claw drops. Woman who does not perform womanhood for men, machine starts smoking. Please see, attendant. And here comes patriarchy in a little red vest with a ring of keys it absolutely did not earn. Ma'am, your body appears to be malfunctioning. No, your machine cannot read me. There is a difference. I learned that young. See, Daddy treated my body like the arcade already belonged to him, and later other men arrived with the same stupid token. Force. Like rape was a cheat code. Like somewhere inside my body was a secret level where masculinity turns pink, lesbians become grateful, and women remember what men say we are for. Sir, that level does not exist, but I was a kid, so I adapted. Maybe made myself harder, more masculine, less available to the male gaze. Thought maybe if I looked undesirable enough, the machine would stop dispensing men. It did not. Apparently, rejecting the game makes certain men slam the buttons harder. My masculinity became an insult. My desire for women became a dare. And suddenly, somebody wanted to demonstrate what my pussy was for. Imagine being that furious because a vagina has independent management. It's not masculinity. It's a toddler losing a skee ball. And yes, violence shattered things. Do not confuse my laughter for innocence. I know exactly what brute force does. It leaves glass in the nervous system, makes a body learn exits before entrances. But here's the cosmic joke. After all that correction, I got gayer, more masculine, more mine. Patriarchy put its whole arm into the claw machine and still could not grab me. So now I walk back through the arcade with a pocket full of tokens. Doctrine, shame, rape, gender, God, feed them one by one into the machine, and every screen flashes the same message. Transaction declined. You cannot purchase obedience from me. You cannot win my body with violence. You cannot colonize desire and call it a flag. And love and men who move like this look at me, and really all that force, all this history, all those rules, and somehow I'm still the prize you never owned. But no. Scratch that. I'm not the fucking prize. I'm the woman who unplugged the machine. Lights out, music dead, tokens useless, and on the black screen, one final message. Game over. Still woman, still masculine, still queer, still here, and after all those quarters and all that force, all that desperate button mashing, somehow, even fucking gayer.
So it's his birthday. Yay! I did not make a cake, like the previous years when he was still in my good graces. When did it start going downhill, you ask? Well, probably on one of the many times he lost a job on purpose, because he was having a mental break. He liked to take too many of those and got himself fired. Or maybe it was his unacknowledged drinking problem, carrying off the semi-empty ones and drinking them in the work bathroom. Or maybe it was the time he stole money out of our accounts to go on a spending spree with his mentally challenged brother while I was in Florida caring for my ailing mother. Who can keep track? He doesn't. The short list plays on repeat in my mind and gnaws away at my last sliver of self-respect, yet he is unbothered, as long as his overly committed wife keeps taking care of things. This weekend, we're going to celebrate my husband's 60th birthday. I can't tell him where we're going because he will drive me mad with questions until we are driving up to the place. He is not here right now, and I am left to pack both our bags, a task I absolutely hate. In the bags go all the amenities that you have a memory lapse you will have to pay double or triple for when you realize you forgot, and should really write all this shit down. 1, underwear and backup, because if you know, you know. 2, toothbrush and paste, because otherwise, ew, Grim Reaper breath. 3, hairbrush or comb or risk having bedhead the next day. 4, bath products you may be allergic to, what they have in there, and they have complementary products that are not poison. 5, clothes that make you look thinner. 6, foundational armor to fit in said clothes. 7, shoes that match said outfits that don't make you feel like barefoot is an option. 8, jackets because it's always artificially cold in restaurants. Arctically, not artificially. 9, cord wires to change all phones because you can't survive anymore without them. 10, all manner of pharmaceuticals because you know you will be feeling ill after anything you eat or drink because that's just the way it is now. 11, the list of reasons why we thought this was going to be fun in the first place.
Breathe in. Breathe out. I stopped counting a long time ago. Counting breaths, counting mistakes, counting the numbers, because counting only drew my attention to the blunders, missteps, and years I've had to get it right. Yet I'm still here, struggling with my appointment. Love found or not found. Loneliness cuddles me like a blanket and paralyzes my own desires. Fear living rent-free in my head and in my space. What's next? Am I living just to live or just surviving? Storm after storm after storm. How do I keep living on the edge of this abyss? Seeking, peaking, and shrinking, striking against the drum in the house of cards. Fall, collapse all around me. My feet can't even find ground. What else? Silence of the walls that close in, funhouse mirroring my escape. Close my eyes and rock. Stir back and forth, back and forth. I need someone just to hold me in this darkness. Put your arms around me and rock back and forth with me, breathing in and out slowly. Tears fall upon my cheeks. I can still feel them wet on my hands as I wipe the tears away. The fallen cards didn't take me down. I guess there's still time, still work to do. So I keep breathing in and out. But now I move.
Wasting away heroin in vain for the sake of not knowing if God hates you more than you do. But you do. You do eventually start to feel like labeling God, good God, goddamn down here. Him has me feeling like he's an absentee landlord, an absentee father, a fucking social engineer of here, homeless human here. Hold on to this fear, for you not only made lemonade out of lemons, but you also made the mistake of making an all-American apple pie out of fruit from their only tree I told you not to fucking touch. Addicted to spare change, scraping up hustles. Could I have half of your cigarette if I give you a quarter, kind sir? I'm a spitting image twin brother of his baby boy Jesus. I'm not saying he was too busy to bother with me, but best believe every time I've called on God, I've had to leave voicemail messages. Highly piss, maybe, smelling like piss, cause I've soiled myself, pissed myself again, pissed again, cause I'm so high. Hallelujah. Highly doubt my motor skills will allow me to safely drop in prayers on knees without passing out every time, every damn time I've called on God. I've had to leave voicemail messages, makes me pissed, so every time he calls me back, I'm nowhere to be found. I went from 401k stock options lease to own Mercedes-Benz convertible coupe cool, assistant coach coaching 8-year-old cute Pete Wheat little league baseball team to taking out second mortgage to accepting foreclosure from taking my model fine missus to 3-star Michelin fine cuisine to hump day dumpster diving down dark alleyways in hopes to find remnants of steak stuck up people care not to take in takeaway containers because reheating food is simply beneath them. I used to be them went from tailored to the T, Italian suits matching cashmere socks, Italian shoes, went from wearing cologne to wearing the same underwear for well over a week and a half, went from "excuse me ma'am, maybe you could show me where the bathroom is because I need a sink to wash my ass and I keep a dented flask filled with the holiest of holy water. In winter we streetwalkers call it whiskey. I keep shared needles shooting up over and over underneath the underpass because that's where I keep my grocery cart filled with aluminum cans I keep taking to recycling because they pay blah, blah, blah by the pound. We watch you silently convulse and shake and choke on your own puke with shit-stained draws as you uncontrollably started shitting yourself again. Eyes rolling in the back of your head again. Some soul sitting silently on the bus was so smartphone self-involved with their self-indulgences, with their Facebook statuses. They're oblivious that they were with the gargling sounds, the vomit streaming down your saltwater cheeks, mixing with tears that could only be shed when a soul seeing the end of the tunnel light again starts flickering, but you know it's gonna go out this time. Some stranger tried to stabilize your head again. We attempted to keep you awake, my friend, again. Whoever helped you knew going in they would need to be self-sanitized in the end. Again, we attempted to keep you awake, my friend. I hope the stubborn God you had doubts with left a spare key under his door for you. I hope peace finally found you as you gained entrance into his house. I hope you died not holding grudges against a world who chose to live like you didn't even fucking exist. Found poem.
Stampedes of crazed adults, trampling children, storming shells in the fashion of Allied forces storming Normandy Beach. Grown-ass adults investing their life savings into purchasing the rarest of their kind, only to lose almost all their value of their collection. A New Hampshire couple thought they hatched a pretty dope idea by forging checks to purchase and sell them for a profit, only to purchase heroin with it. Now flooding hospital donation bins, Goodwill and Savers locations nationwide, in the closets of unfortunate heirs of a lost fortune, Beanie Babies were the Bitcoin of the 1990s. These little limp sacks of understuffed animals now face a more grim future, beating up filling of beanbag chairs, as their owners have developed a fetish of sitting on their carcasses of their friends, mainly as a way to achieve a dopamine rush by exacting revenge on their failed investments of hopes and dreams through imprisonment, utter dominance, and occasional gas torture by way of flatulence. In a movement as bizarre as the movement that birthed it, this kink is known by many different names depending on region. Beanie Baby chambering has taken the North American furry communities by storm in a similar fashion that Queenie Babying was popularized by the royal family. Beanie Baby Kinkaroo has shook Japan's kink world to its core, to the point that cyberpunk cinema is experiencing a renaissance. The ripples of influence even stretch out throughout India as new positions were included in the revised edition of the Kama Sutra, named after some of the most popular Beanie Babies, with Squealer the Pig voted #1 in Cosmopolitan India's list of hottest positions to do with your partner this summer. It doesn't matter what you call it. At the end of the day, it is a young that will be yucked a lot more than toes getting sucked in an ever so evolving case study that is worth exploring, preferably from a distance.
Freestyle number 330. The MA in MA Dennis stands for many attitudes. And if I were to adopt my Mama Betty attitude and you were to ask me, do I want to be unmuted? I would be like, are you fucking kidding me? As much as they have suppressed the voice of black women, I stay unmuted. I'm always interrupting the Zoom. I'm so Zoom, I'm like the Commodores. Lionel Richie, easy like Sunday morning. Sometimes I imagine myself as Baba and Ngoma. I tap on my brain like it's an open mic, and I say, is this thing on? Is this thing on? I need to know if my mind is open. I need to know if I am open-minded. I saw the most closed-minded thing ever a while back. I was at a slam, and they were drawing the names, and someone dared to say the name Black Chakra. A deafening hush fell over the room. You would have thought Thanos just snapped. And no disrespect to that brother who is phenomenal. But I must say, if you were to ask me the poet name with Black, that is the name that gets my reverence, it would be Medusa is Black. And if you don't agree with me, it just shows me that you do not know mythology. Medusa was raped by Poseidon and punished for it. So if you look at the name Medusa was Black, it means a Black woman got raped and was punished for it. So I'm going to take 3 seconds to allow you to change your top ranking. Who has the dopest Black name in the game? It's Medusa was Black. If you ask me what are my top 5 poet names that have Black in it, 5, 4, and 3 go to Black Chakra. Number 2 is Black Medusa. Medusa was Black. Nobody gets number 1 because Medusa was Black should be number 1. But in a white MFA course, they told me to write what you know. And I don't know no Black women who get the number 1 spot. They always play second fiddle. So unfortunately, Medusa was Black, deserves to be number 1, but I have to put a number 2. But I'll tell you what I do know. The number 1 spot in my heart goes to Brooklyn. You see, I represent Queens, but I love me some Brooklyn. I love the bridge. I love Coney Island. I even will eat a glizzy with no shame because I'm not homophobic. I love getting on the cyclone. Some people don't like to get scared. Some people don't like to watch horror movies because they feel life is already scary enough. And I can see that point of view. But I always go to Brooklyn. It's been gentrified, but there are parts of it that are still old school Brooklyn. There's still some Biggie in Brooklyn. And that's why I spread love the Brooklyn way. I love me some Brooklyn. I love me some Brooklyn ever since the first time I heard her speak. The voice of Brooklyn is so unique. Why do you think so many Caribbean people go to Brooklyn? Because there's something about that patois. You hear what me say now? I love the way it sound, man. The way she soothed me, man. Yes, man, I love Brooklyn. Yes, man. Yes, man. But me not want to take too much of your time now. You see? Because we got things to do, places to go. And me just want to thank you, man. Me want to thank my brethren and my sistren for having an open mind, man. Big up. Big up to open mind. Big up to the space, man. Rest and power, man. I, John Jarman. Enough love, one respect.
The hunters are coming. According to the internet, not the British are coming, but the regulars are coming out, is what Paul Revere had warned during his midnight ride on April 18th, 1775. This ride was to alert the American colonists about the approaching British troops before the battles of Lexington and Concord. 249 years later, we were warned about Project 2025, a warning that would change all the strides we had to make to attempt a more peaceful society. The hunters are coming. It doesn't matter the season, winter, spring, summer, or fall. In Hunger Games fashion, no equal playing field between the oppositions, no fighting chance for the innocent, no debate between Bugs, Daffy, or Elmer whether it's wabbit season or duck season. It is always open season on us. It's equal opportunity when it comes to melanated people. But of late, the prey has been expanded when it comes to innocent children falling prey to pedophiles. When it comes to those whose primary language is Spanish. When it comes to trafficking of children. When peaceful Caucasian people band together with us, even to give medical aid. When it comes to the incarceration of the abused for defending themselves. When the rich get diplomatic immunity for their crimes, showing the scales unbalanced when it comes to equal justice. When women no longer have rights to their own bodies. When non-whites receive substandard, if any, proper health care. When qualified Medicaid recipients lose their benefits or they're reduced to almost nothing. When law enforcement applicants are not required to be law-abiding. When parents' rights to correct their children are revoked. When life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is no longer a mission statement of America. When Native Americans are considered non-citizens. When homelessness is considered illegal. When prisons become a business investment. When you're not safe even in your own homes, jobs, or schools. When trained military soldiers and veterans are no longer valued or recognized properly. When unqualified people are appointed positions that they did not earn. When criminals are awarded reparations and fast food for their crimes. When we are encouraged to not believe what's televised. When regardless of how detailed a victim can testify to their trauma, the perpetrator still gets off with time served. When cases are ruled a suicide contrary to the evidence that screams otherwise. When those we rely on to solve cause of death can tamper with evidence without repercussions. When obstruction of justice or perjury for certain individuals go without consequences. When true history is banned, my head does a dance between lowering in defeat and shaking it in wonderment, to looking up to the hills from where my help is to come from. We were warned of what was to come, not by telegraph, not by carrier pigeon, not by horseback with a shout, but this was televised in so many ways. Yet it's too late for us to gird ourselves for the attacks. Many have succumbed, and it appears that many more will suffer because those in power have the connections and the finances. And we don't know who is really pulling the strings. We don't know who to trust that can turn things around. We ponder, could this be the end? But it's no longer a warning. The hunters are here. Humans have a tendency to think their mortality is extended. They take for granted that time is their friend when it's a two-faced bastard. And every generation appears to have this fantasy that time has somehow formed a better relationship or loyalty to them exclusively, like they are so special. But time doesn't discriminate or play favorites. That's the one thing time does, is treat everyone equally. So DEI is not a factor. It doesn't see color or status. It just is what it is. So it's a given that regret comes at your door unannounced. It doesn't believe in calling you before it arrives. It'd be like, I was in the neighborhood and decided to stop by and see what you're up to. It doesn't care that you're in a bonnet, sans underwear with crust in your eyes and hadn't had your coffee yet. It's just rude as hell. But then it's just reciprocating your behavior. After all, you kept putting off what should have been done. You took for granted that another opportunity would present itself for you to show appreciation as well as be honest with said individuals. And now it's too late to present them with their flowers. The moment has expired, and perhaps they have as well, with no way for you to recapture what was in the rear view of your heart. No choice but to look ahead and learn the lesson, discovering that heartbreak is currently the victor over the love that was tucked away, and the flowers will soon wilt and die just like those missed opportunities. Your love stayed hidden when it should have given up its hiding place because the one you hoped would seek it had given up and no longer wants to play this game. They moved on from hide and seek to tag, you're it, for me, with someone else. I owe the Holy Spirit an apology, or perhaps I owe Jesus one, since he said he would be leaving a comforter. Have you ever received a gift from a most caring individual that thought highly of you, giving you something you could always utilize? Yet you take the gift and possibly the giver for granted. They put so much thought and effort into your needs and what you really could use, which was by no means lax in this process. Yet you didn't appreciate it enough. You didn't appreciate their heart when they presented it to you. You said, thanks. And after they were out of your sight, you put it down and didn't really give it much thought. Not using the gift for what it was intended for. And because of your mishandling of it, because of your lack of appreciation, you placed it on the shelf for safekeeping or whatever, without a thought, without a care. The irony is this was something you begged for some time ago. Guidance, clarity, discernment. But once you got it, you took it for granted. You began to treat it as an afterthought, not realizing that an expiration date was imminent, that perhaps atrophy from lack of use or attention would make it worthless. Treating it like the trash you would discard, not realizing that what you consider trash will be treasured by someone else. Once someone else discovers its true value, and at that point, it may be too late for you to retrieve it. It will be finders, keepers, losers, weepers. The comforter was there to protect you, to guide you. It was a compass that was meant to sustain your health and well-being, perhaps to keep you in perfect peace when chaos is all around you. It was freely given to you, yet maybe that's why you didn't appreciate its worth, because it was given to you instead of being earned by you. You never really had to work for it, and it's unfortunate but accurate that this world appreciates things more so when they put in the work, at least for the most part. Yet there are other gifts that are truly worthwhile. But those gifts appear to come after the Comforter was ignored. They would be grace and mercy that is received under certain circumstances that come when we least deserve it. So, Lord, I ask your forgiveness for taking your gift for granted, and I thank you for grace and mercy. You know us better than we know ourselves. Your generosity is boundless as long as our priorities are in order.